All right. Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the FQ3C Roundtable. Welcome to our people, John Myland and Elizabeth, acting as me. And because you got to love the internet, sometimes it works better in other places. And, you know, we're committed to always bring in our best game, as perfectly imperfect as it is. So that's not Amy. That's really Elizabeth, FQ3C. And I'm Amy. Because it goes like that sometimes. And we are the FQ3C people. FQ3C is an amazing system and utility and software that allows you to really understand what you're trying to get done and get it done. And we're going to talk a little about what that actually means, like regular people, and not using big fancy words, but what does this mean for you on an everyday basis? So the last 4 weeks, we've been going through the 4 variables, and today we're going to touch on the 5th, which is clarity, which is clarity. So in FQ3C, we have 5 variables that we work with that create a formula that allow you to be successful at what it is you're actually trying to get done and how you're going to get there. So we talked first about frequency. Yeah, and frequency is, we technically call that the quantity within a parameter. So it's like 5 miles an hour. Or another way to put that is, perhaps you have a fitness goal. I want to start walking 2 miles a day. Or I want to start doing, I want to be able to do 10 push-ups a morning. And fitness goals are a great example of that, but we see this everywhere. I want to write 2 articles a month for my newsletter. So that's an example of frequency. Right? Then we went into quality. And quality is about, we call that which is good, that is in the eyes of the perceiver. We have a great way of saying it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But what did you consider good? What did you consider your best game? What was your A game that you brought to that? Yeah. I am going to write, and I am going to do this quality of writing. I'm going to bring this quality into my walking or my fitness, whatever that is. Now, what is that sense of excellence that I want to bring to it? So I am bringing the very best. And that is what we mean by quality. It's kind of obvious, but sometimes you need to stop and look at that and say, am I doing the very best I could do with that? And then we go to consistency. So consistency is, are you steadily showing up? And are you, wait a minute.
No, I just gave that to John so he could see.
All right, thank you. So we go into consistency, and I'd like to throw it to you guys. So what would you give as a great practical everyday person definition of consistency?
Well, I think John actually has a real life experience. Yes? Or is that it?
That's for clarity later on.
That's for clarity. Gotcha. Okay, for me, consistency is knowing how many times something needs to be completed in order to achieve my the goal that I want to reach with good quality. And that's simply in a nutshell. Shane likes to use the miles per hour. For me, I like using, okay, let's say I need to go to the grocery store. Am I going to go there and be picking more than what I need, or am I going to stay within the parameters of what everyone asked for and go and be back in 15 minutes instead of 2 hours? What is the duration? And so what is the duration of time that's my constraint?
Yeah. So we know that we talk about consistency too as the technical definition is the frequency plus the quality. So how steadily are you doing what you set out to do? and what is the quality, and how well are you doing it? You know, are you saying, I did that really well. I was so, you know, I went to the store and I was excellent with my time management, and I was excellent with staying on my budget and getting back, and I brought back really great produce while I did that. I mean, to me, that would be so it's like, I see it like that. So it's like, yeah. Yeah.
And the
So,
cool thing is that, you know, according to the avatars, which are the people or elements that are involved. So the quality of that is for me to take into consideration. And this is where the constraint parts also come in. But the consistency supports our ability to understand. Now that I have the consistency factors, then I go to the continuity of, okay, how am I going to do this? When are the hours of the store? What store is going to give me the ability to do, so-and-so wants these snacks, so-and-so wants this snack. So those are the different avatars that are some of them that I have to consider. Do I have the grocery bags, or am I going to buy them there to stay within budget? It just, your FQ3C, as you start to use it, literally helps all these things happen in here like this.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there
And I'm
anything
really,
you want to add, John?
Well, let me give you an example of consistency for myself, I guess. You know, in FQ3C, we talk about it as frequency and quality working together over a period of time, right? So let's say in my business, I'm making phone calls, okay? And in between meetings, all I'm going to do is make phone calls until 3 o'clock every day. If I do that, that's my frequency because that's the action. And quality wise, let's say every time I make a phone call, I'm going to be at my A game. You know, I'm focused, I'm present. I'm going to be at my A game. I'm going to try to engage with people every phone call I make. So that's the quality of what I want to bring. So if I'm making my phone calls till 3 o'clock and I'm bringing my A game to each phone call, then I'm consistent because I'm doing both those things together at the same time.
And what would,
right?
okay, so let's kind of segue to constraints, continuity, if you don't mind, because I think it's a perfect time. What would the continuity variables be for that?
Whether they answer the phone or not is one of them. And again, you should probably define continuity before we just jump into it. It's everything else around this stuff. So does my phone work? Is somebody trying to call me? Or will they answer the phone? Do I have a list of people I'm going to call?
Hi, everybody.
yeah.
Shane.
How about the distractions? People knocking on the
Hey,
door,
Shane.
coming in, your family, correct?
I'm sorry, say again.
John?
She's talking to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
should have lights that are trash again. There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane, welcome.
Hi, Shane.
Hey, guys.
We're recording in live.
Wonderful.
We got you in, and John's actually segueing from consistency to his definition for continuity and different outside influences for his quality at this point.
Nice. Yeah. I'm just sorry. I was on a call with a VIP and decided that it was important to take that. So thank you guys for taking care of this while I was on that.
No problem. That's what we do.
And I am about to jump into the mix here. I'm
And
not
that's
going
our
on the spot.
consistency.
Yeah, and I'm not in my normal spot, so my apologies ahead of time.
That's all right. That's all right.
You're looking great. Don't sound so great.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I can do? I could probably say higher, but that's okay.
You're great. Just where you are. I love that. Well centered and everything.
Oh, I need to get all these angles adjusted here. Uh-oh.
Earthquake, and
It's trying to
South
follow you.
Carolina.
Yeah, I'm trying to unlock all of my elements here. Ah, you're the one that's missing. Whoa! There we go.
At least we know your daughter has toys.
She does. She has plenty. More than she needs, that's for sure.
I often do.
Ooh.
But we know that the way you manage it, she definitely understands her ability to manage her use and time of them.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
So, John, do you want to finish as you were saying? We had mentioned that. What about, the external uncontrollable constraints?
The external uncontrolled, are you talking about the constraints that are out of my control?
Yes, sir. The ones like someone knocking on your door because they want you to help with the dogs. How does that affect your quality and consistency and frequency?
I just sick my dogs on them. And keep
You sick the dogs on the dogs or the person knocking on the door?
No. External constraint would be people don't answer the phone. I don't control that. They have to answer the phone.
Yeah.
So if they don't, they don't. If they do, they do. If they do, then I'm able to do what I'm going to do. If they don't, I just go on to the next one. That's all. It's an adaptation. So I had that today. My son, I was on the phone and my son came in and was petting the dog and he says, "Hey, Dad, you got 30 seconds?" And when I do my work, I'm on a timer. And I said, "Not yet." He says, "Just 30 seconds." I said, "In 4 minutes and 53 seconds, I will come get you." Right now, I'm on my timer. So, my son coming in was a external very constraint that I didn't control him coming in. So, but I could control myself. So I did.
And so me going to the grocery store, I can't control how many other people would be at the store.
Yep. You also
But
can't.
I can control staying to the grocery list. I have to stay within the time and duration set for me to go and be back.
Yeah, other examples of that we all have to deal with at different times are things like the weather. Your weather, if there's a heavy storm, power knocked out, various things like that, driving conditions. These are practical things that are great examples of different kinds of constraints that are circumstances beyond our control. That's like you have to take that into account and work with that. And that you either find a way to work around it, or you say, well, yep, that isn't going to work the way I thought it was going to because, it's snowing or it's an ice storm or it's flooded or various things, or people have called you on your shopping list and they said, wait, we're changing this and this and this. Mom, get this other thing. And you were not muted. There's no way you could have known that because they said, yep, we've got everything we need. That's on the list. Go. Oh, wait, no, I need you to get this and this and this instead. This is really important. So we have those, those factors. And the thing we work with frequency, quality, consistency, and going into continuity and continuity is how well do we manage these other things as well, because there are so many different things that go into, and they're very subtle and they're very nuanced into continuity. And it's basic. You could say it in a nutshell. It's just how well are you walking your talk? What is going on there that makes sure that what you're doing and what you're saying are lining up internally and externally? What's your internal conversation versus what's your external behavior? You know what that's and again we have that phrase, are you walking your talk? Those are really great examples of that. So now let's get into having set the stage and given ourselves some really good examples of what that's like. We're going to get into the fifth element, the fifth one today, the fifth variable. Yeah, the fifth variable, and it is clarity. Now, I happen to be a massive, stinking, stupid fangirl about clarity. It's like, if I don't have clarity, I don't got squat. Ever.
I don't see it.
And ever since that clicked on for me, I've got that Van Morrison song playing rent free in my head. And if I had the way to do it, I would have used that as an intro this today, because I've got that, let's switch on the light and let's see what's really going on. Going over and over. It's like, and that's when it's like, what's really going on here? Because you don't get, my observation with FQ3C and my work with it is just that you don't get a successful goal. You don't get success at your goal, and none of that happens until you get that clarity. And I like the way Shane wrote about it in the book Doomed to Succeed, which was just till you can go no further. You have dug down, and you're at, yep. Every which way I look at this, I get to the same essential truth about what it is I really want to do, who I really am. When I quit pretending, this is what it is. This is what's really going on. And if I've got that, and I can operate from that absolutely essential, I can't get away from it, truth, then everything I build on is going to work. What I found is that I'm not necessarily always comfortable with that. It's like, whoa, I've got consistency, continuity, and every single time, this is the truth that shows up. No matter what I think it should be, or what I've been trained to think, what I've been told it should be. And it's like, ew, it's awkward. That's really awkward. But it's true. And every time, and now when I go there, all the time, the quality, the everythingness of everything I'm doing is so much better. And it looks nothing like what I expected. So let's get into clear. Let's talk about that. Because what does it really mean to be really, 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 really clear? Not Scientology clear, but really, what does that really mean? And how do we use that? Because that is, it's got these saying, that to me is the most important one. If you don't got that, you don't got squat.
Let's talk about what clarity does to us. I guess let's take the concept of FQ3C, the definition of going to the end so that there's nothing left to see. Okay, and going that deeply. And the reason I'm saying this is I'm going to share some experiences in my own life because it's applicable to everybody when you think about this. So like I was talking with Amy earlier. One of my goals I'm planning to do is move to Belize for part of the year for the adventure. Now let's talk about clarity with this. And this is something I've learned being in FQ3C. I was never like this before. So one of the things FQ3C has done for me is helped me look into the detail. Because that's where clarity is. So when I'm thinking about moving to Belize, I'm thinking about, okay, how much is rent there? How much is, utilities and down payments a month? Where do I get a washer and dryer? Who do I buy dryers and furniture from? Dressers and all this type of stuff. I'm thinking about all this detail. And when I'm putting my planning together, you know, we talk about going through FQ3C where we have the goal and then we have our assessments and stuff like that. Well, now my problem is I get so detailed, not perfectionistic detailed, but the concept of clarity detail. That my clarity is never at 100 until I'm there. You know, I'm always realizing that there's more answers that I could find. And so I'll never be at a perfect assessment grade of 100 if that's possible, because I'm learning there's always more there to ask about. And then it's like, okay, so now how is that going to be funded? And that whole plan comes into place. And in my assessment, my latest assessment, my probability of getting there is 96.4%. What's that 0.4%? I mean, what's that 4.6%? Clarity.
Yeah.
So, but I've learned that the clearer I am, and this I shared this with Shane earlier, the more clear I am, the less fear there is.
Mhm.
Fear usually comes from the unknown, and with my clients, I've noticed that fear comes up when there's uncertainty, and the more you face the uncertainty and wave through it, looking for the things that you can control in that clarity, the less fear there is. And I talked about, you know, fear and excitement as twins side by side. And the only difference between the two, or which twin's going to show up, is the amount of clarity you have in something. If you've got enough clarity, you're going to be excited. If you don't have clarity, there's going to be a lot of hesitancy, a lot of fear. Because like, what if this? What if this? You're going to give your mind just, naturally move towards negativity, right? Because we don't want to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So the less clear you are, the more you're giving your subconscious a field day just to go, what about this? What about this? Oh my gosh, what about this? But the more clear you are on a conscious level, the more excited you get, therefore the more confidence you get. So man, clarity has a whole bunch of ramifications that are just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to really agree with you on that, John, because when I hit my initial sense of clarity, then it went deeper and deep. There was depth and there was breadth, but it was more about how I saw the connections of everything differently in my behavior. Oh, this is why I do this. This is what's going on here. This is what I really want to do here. And that's what getting clarity brought me. And it's like, and that's what it's like, oh, and this and this and this and this and this. So it's not a moving target. It's an ongoing experience that we just have within us, and it becomes like an internal constant dialogue. And I'm gonna take a step on that, and I'm gonna say, being a faithful person, that I'd say it's my constant conversation. For me, it's my constant talk with God, my constant conversation. I refer to God as my great travel buddy. I mean, like, I've been through some crazy adventures in my life in Southeast Asia before. There have been times when I know, I'm just sitting going, well, and I feel like I'm metaphorically like looking at God, and I are walking down the street in Da Nang, like, oh, we got to go to immigration now. Oh, okay. Whatever. Looking at each other and laughing, going, okay, we're clear on this is going to be fine. It's that clarity gives me that connection to something greater than myself, and that constant dialogue, that constant exchange, and constant feedback that helps me see, oh, there's this and there's this and there's this going on, and the connections and the relationships. So having said that, and thank you, John. I love that. I love what you said about that. And I think you really gave us all some practical examples of what that means. And that's what's important is getting this down to how do you use this in your real life in a practical day-to-day basis? When you're going to the store, when you're planning your move to Belize, when you're going to see the immigration office in Vietnam, and the different things that can happen, just normally. Okay, wait a minute. The last one didn't sound very normal.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's normal for me, and that's my clarity. By the way,
Why?
the background of talking in Vietnamese. So there you go. The thing that's really cool. One of the things we discovered about working with FQ3C, and Shane and I did a little bit of this, but Shane did the legwork on this, the data part. We got really clear on what it is about this thing that makes it so incredibly powerful and potent and special. And the statistics on the performance up against things like SMART goals and what is the other one? V2MOM, which is a high corporate one that most people don't realize. But if you're a high corporate person watching this, if you know, you know. And what was the other one? There are these other models that are not coming to mind. And Shane, if
OKRs. It
yeah,
doesn't matter.
yeah. So let's throw some numbers out that talk about how clear we are on how well this works over the other established goal setting models. And I don't have my numbers in front of me, so can somebody else help out?
So as far as it was 17 categories that FQ3C was measured against. What's also interesting is we actually put up two different models of FQ3C. One's our short form and one's our long form. So it's 5 variables, which is literally the acronym of FQ3C. So FQ, C1, C2, C3. And the other one is our 12 variables, which we could call it the 12 C's if we really want, but nobody wants to try and remember 12 C's. So, FQ3C it is.
Yeah.
We, in 17 categories, ended up destroying everybody, and we beat them by a margin of 23% from our second place, which was our base 5 model. So that was second. So our first place is actually our 12C model. Second place is our FQ3C base 5 model. 23% below that is finally V2MOM, who used to be the other reigning champion. And if you look at the percentiles, we're the only model that's in the 90th percentile recommended across, I think it was 10. It was like 9 or 10, I can't remember. Different like AI models that also did their assessments. So we had a perfect score in 2 of them, which was Gemini and Claude. I think it was Claude. And then the other ones are kind of like all over the place. But what was really cool is at the end of the day, we crushed it. Like if you think of an Olympic gold medalist, typically they're winning by this much of a margin. It's that inch, or it's that, 10 seconds or 5 seconds that was the difference between the winner and the loser. This is the equivalent of like what Michael Phelps did when he went in, where he was almost a whole lap and a half ahead of everybody else. That's the type of margin here that we're talking, right? Another way to think about this too is 23%. That's if you're thinking of a race where a person has to go 4 times around that track, by the time that everybody else is basically finally making their 3rd lap, we're crossing the finish line on our 4th. Yeah. That's the amount of margin that we're talking about of difference here, and that's great. That's from our 2nd place. Okay. So really our 1st place and 2nd place both cross the finish line by the time that happened. That's crazy to think about.
That's so Hoovian.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some other interesting data points, I guess, is SMART goals used to be the winner of, it was called ease of adaptation, because it was a nice, easy acronym. You could always remember. Is it, now I don't even remember it anymore because I just don't consider them good.
Yeah.
It's so inferior. But those who love it, they're going to know how to rattle it off. But even with ours, for the fact that our variables have their own definitions. That itself is so much of a huge leap, because SMART, S was not simple. Okay, I
Systemic?
know. No, M was measurable, A is achievable or attainable, R was relevant, T was timely, S was specific.
Specific,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so if you think about it just side by side quick, and this is our second place versus SMART. S specific, we can ask ourselves, what does that mean? If we notice we're trying to get clarity, and there is no clarity on that S. What does specific mean? It's saying, well, it gets specific. To what degree? How do we understand when we are specific or not, right?
Yeah.
If you try and run this, it's impossible. Well, with ours, for the equivalent would probably be clarity. We already know that it's once you get to there's nothing left to be able to move. And what's interesting is John did bring up a valid point that a lot of times the point of clarity comes when you've actually already achieved the objective. That's typically the point where real clarity actually takes root, or when you've already been to that destination before, and so you already have this idea in your mind of exactly what it looks like, exactly what it's going to taste like, because you've done it before. Like it's always easier to go to the top of Mount Everest your second time, not the first. The first time's like, whoa, what's going to happen? But once you get up there the first time, clarity, you know exactly what it is. You're going to be able to get there the second time more easily. So even with that, right, there's zero barriers in the way of your understanding. That by itself already is a massive jump. You don't have to ask the question anymore of what does that mean? For measurable, for us, that would be the equivalent of frequency. Well, we know that it's a parameter or a quantity within a given parameter, but SMART goals is just measurable. It could be anything. It could be any number, it doesn't even have to be a quantity at that point. It can just be like a person having this kind of generalish image in their head about something. Who knows? And then A was what? Attainable,
Achievable.
achievable.
Yeah.
I guess kind of for us would be like a mixture of constraint and continuity
Well, the thing
slash
is
duration.
yeah,
ish.
the thing for SMART goals, when they said achievable, and when I took the training on it, it didn't really give you a tangible way to know what achievable even writing your goal meant.
Yeah, exactly. So for us, we already know that in order for something to be achievable, you have to break it down into constraint, duration, your continuity, and honestly, even it's the whole FQ3C at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because there might not be enough time to be able to do 20,000 push-ups. It's just not physically possible, right? Or there is no such thing as perfection. So can you do a perfect push-up every single time? No, that's just not true. It doesn't exist, right? So even those elements of make sure it's achievable, it's so broad, it makes no sense, and it's
Yeah.
just left with questions. And this, like you said, Elizabeth, this feeling of emptiness and being lost. And then for let's see, it was MAR, relevant. What?
Relevant, yes.
Okay, so where are we going for the clarity though? Oh, so that's what you're speaking to, is the fact that there really was no end goal for the clarity.
Yeah, on any of the variables.
Yeah.
None of them provide any clarity definition of any kind, and it's left up to the person's devices, which is a problem because that means then that if Susie is, we'll call it simple-minded and has never tried to think of anything hard in her life, and then you have Brian, who's a neurochemical engineer of some kind, you already can tell that Susie's not going to be able to get to a higher quality level of the SMART goal and its outcome than Jeremy is. It's just not, because he is already more detailed. He's already more experienced. He has all this more information that he's leveraging at his disposal to make it so that his SMART goal becomes great. So if you put the same thing of like, I want you to create a goal about going to Belize, Jeremy's is going to crush Susie's every time. It's because there's no like, hey Susie, you haven't quite figured out this level here of what you need at a minimum to even have what's considered a comprehensive goal. So yeah, the clarity is just all sorts of bad. And also SMART goals didn't even make the top well, originally wasn't even in the top 3 before we even came along. It got pushed down to, I think it was like 6th place or something like that, once R2 came in. So anyways, those are some fascinating things. But I did want to also mention that clarity for us has another benefit that I don't know a lot of people think about: duplication, duplicity. So, for example, for a long time, if you go to the first roundtables that we were all doing, you'll see that we were struggling to try and say, what is FQ3C and what does it do and how can you use it? We were struggling with that. The types of verbiage that would be used is like, oh, it allows you to see yourself for the first time. Or somebody else is like, you get to finally make a decision with confidence. Those are describing the side effects or the kind of benefits, but doesn't describe who, what, where, when, why it is. It was through clarity when we finally got to the point where like, yes, FQ3C is an achievement behavioral model. Yes, what it's able to do is it's able to quantify the anecdotal evidence that then transitions into empirical data. Yes, we are able to actually measure conviction. And at the end of the day, the word conviction, I believe, is our point of pure clarity. We've all tried. None of us have been able to get any deeper than that. And I know that John has also tried poking and prodding, and he'll come up and be like, he'll do a roundabout rosing and round bushes and come back and be like, no, it's still his conviction, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it's conviction, isn't it?
Well, and then also too, the piece that for FQ3C clarity, and then as John mentioned, you know, the factor of the way using FQ3C over this past year took that fear you were talking about, John, out. I now have a confidence level that is would have been undescribable by me before. So it's, for me, clarity, FQ3C is the ability to see exactly what is needed to do what next. And that's why I like the grocery store analogy for people who don't have an idea, because the why it matters is, and Shane put it in our fun fry that y'all can come to and see as we give you the basics every Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern or 5 o'clock Pacific or somewhere in between for you. And it removes the fog or confusion or emotional static that John was talking about that can cause agitation or fear. And so it's not just about having clear goals. It's about understanding human pattern and yours and why it takes the messy out of human. And that's what the difference is between us and the other goal achieving tools, is we literally make us measurable and repeatable, or have duplicity. You know, that eliminate. So, and it's your choices. What are the patterns behind your choices? And you're recognizing what you're feeling, naming what's blocking you. You know, Shane, you spent copious times very graciously and patiently saying, but Elizabeth, say it, you know, and I couldn't. and he stuck with me, and when needed, came behind me and alongside me and helped me name breaking through the small parts so I could see the big parts and my process so that they actually stuck. Because I kept doing them again. Like I get away from it for a minute and then go back to it again, right, Shane?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and most frameworks don't tell you what to achieve. Do you guys agree that it, and FQ3C gives you clarity on how your mind and your emotions work together and how they aren't, maybe, so that you can then learn how to combine them consistently with confidence and without burning out. And that's why we've been able to, it's, you know what? You actually, Shane, used to talk about the light. So it's like turning on the headlights, right? While driving at night, and all of a sudden you're driving at night and you don't realize your headlights aren't on, but people driving past you are flashing their headlights at you. And finally you go, oh, I see what everybody's trying to say. And FQ3C is like that assistance. And so you suddenly see the road ahead of you in real time, and you adjust what needs to be adjusted. And you can stay on course with clarity that makes the invisible visible with conviction.
Yeah.
And that conviction, when you shift from what you think is commitment into the FQ3C conviction, you know what? It's so fresh for me. It brings tears and joy to all of me, especially when I see it in my clients also.
Let's throw out a really cool thing that Clarity does now. How many of you've heard this is a German study of phenomena. I forgot what it was called. But when you last time you bought a car, everybody listening to this is probably
Yeah.
the car you bought a car and then you saw a car on the street, right?
Yes.
Just like yours or the same color. And it's like, and here's what I tell my clients, because I use this for my clients, because I say this is what's going to make you this right here. It's like our reticular activating system in our brain works as a filter. And it basically lets in all the stuff in the world that's pertinent to our world. And it filters out everything that's irrelevant to us. So we don't have to mess it and see with it. Well, you know, if I bought a brand new Jeep, okay, a nice big candy red Jeep, and I'm driving that on the street, suddenly I see this Jeep all over the place, and I see this candy red color all over the place. And what happens is, and this has to do with clarity, I'm bringing this into it, is that now I'm seeing what was always there that I couldn't see before. And this brings into what Elizabeth said, that when we start focusing on, when we look for more clarity on something, our reticular activating system in our brain says, oh, he or she wants that to be part of our world. Okay, let's let that stuff in. So now our world opens up to us and we start seeing stuff that we couldn't see before. It suddenly, you know, people talk about, you know, the law of attraction and stuff like this. I think the law of attraction is nothing more than now you can see what you couldn't see before. It's always been there. But now since you're focused on something, you can now see it. So if you really focus on something and you want clarity on it, your brain's going to open up opportunities to let you see things that are right in front of you right now that you can't see, you idiot. Because you're not focused on it. Once you focus on it, you're going to see it because your brain's going to filter that stuff in now. And like I said, everything you want, everything you need is right in front of you. You're just not focused on it. That's why you can't see it.
And
That's
the other
clarity.
thing, yeah, and the thing is that people don't realize this as well. when they're stuck in either analysis paralysis, chasing their tail, spinning their wheels, or banging their head, 90% of the time, it is either an emotional driven event that whereby you have that fear, whatever you talked about earlier, fear, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be, or it is, of course, just clarity. And 9 times out of 10, that clarity and that emotion are connected to each other. Because the moment that I have clear, my emotion dissipates and I get excited and motivated to take action. And if I'm clear, what's the reason for me to continue to do any sort of research? I'm already clear. No more research is needed. If I'm chasing my tail and all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, I'm chasing my tail. Reticular activation system goes, maybe I should chase something else, not my tail. Even the spin, right? Even spinning your wheels, just like, no, no, no. It's like, hey, look down, doofus. You got to get some traction going on your feet. Or even the wall. You bang your head. Hey, look around, doofus. There's a wall there. Maybe look to the right side, left side, down or up, or go get a tool and break through it. But you need to do something else. And being able to see that is the clarity variable that we're talking about, and addresses all of those major problems, challenges that FQ3C totally helps solve.
Yeah, it gives, and we humans want a little bit of validation. Oh no, okay, we want a lot. And that's one of the reasons why we will start going around asking, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? FQ3C tracks those emotions and gives you adaptability by giving you the way to see for yourself in writing what it is you're struggling with, and walks you through the process that I did yesterday with a psychologist that I've been working with. And they actually said now with the AI, they're loving it. One, how much faster it is. And two, the way it's, well, we refined, because we are all refining continuously. And Shane was able to put in the clearer, more refined way for us to say exactly what the AI needed to hear for the process to just be a gold standard.
And Amy as well. I got
And Amy, yes, let's not leave Amy out.
She's done
I'm
great.
here. I don't feel left out. I'm good.
Oh no, yeah, but we got to put your name there, because I'll tell you, this woman, whew, she is inspirational.
Oh, even though the lighting is bad, you're making me blush.
Good. You deserve that.
That's very kind of you to say that.
I wanted
I get to buy you a meal.
I want to do something interesting. Speaking of buying a meal, would you guys feel comfortable? Because we've had enough time to get to know each other, right? Who are all on this particular group. In choosing one of the other people, and obviously the same person can be chosen again, and saying in your words what you observed of them pre FQ3C and what you've observed of them now post FQ3C, that it's part of their life. I think that'd be interesting. And I think it's unfair that I go first, because I've gotten to see all of you grow pre and post. And I think that what might make the most sense is John's the easiest, because everyone got to kind of see him pre-post, right? Elizabeth the next easiest. I think Amy's the only one that you guys haven't seen her pre and post. So I probably should do Amy.
Okay, well, in that case, I should do you, because I knew you before then.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, so how about this? I'll do Amy. Amy does me, and then do you two feel comfortable, Elizabeth and John, doing each other?
Yep.
I don't know how I could do.
Actually, I would be comfortable doing all of you, because the first time Amy and I spoke, she and I were such different people than we were when we actually started connecting, like 3 months later.
Yeah.
We both saw the change in each other. And we're just talking about that is how the next piece of how we connected, because it was just exciting for us to be two women with similar barriers and challenges, to actually have someone to talk FQ3C with.
Hmm.
That wasn't a dude.
That's true.
That wasn't Shane. That's what I just heard there.
Yeah. Well, it was. Yeah, you're right. That wasn't you. That
Well,
was.
it
Yeah.
wasn't
We actually.
Maurice.
It was one.
Yeah.
We went deep. We had an amazing recording that didn't get recorded, where we just went at it as spiritual women, and it was very deep. It was really cool. I was like, well, it was good for us anyway.
Was
Yeah.
it as good for you as it was for me?
Oh man, oh baby.
Well, John, I think do you think you have enough information on either one of them? Because I know you definitely don't remember me pre. Well, actually, I might have even changed since the time that you and I have met too. So who knows?
Well, you have, but I don't know how I could do any of you guys because you guys have been in a lot longer than me. When I came in, I only know you as who you are now.
Mm. Then how about this? John gets a pass. I'm gonna do John. He just.
Or I would love to do John. And you do Amy. You two do each other.
Sure, we can do
Okay.
that, and then I'll do Elizabeth.
Okay.
I can do that as well. Okay.
Well, be nice and don't be too intimate. Okay. So John, what I can say is it was so fun when you came in and you were just constantly unsure if you could even speak to FQ3C. And you were constantly giving us way more credit than you really gave yourself, because we saw the growth in you and we asked you questions because we knew you had the answer and you were unsure. And now listen to you be able to this is my life experience. I got this. And I do this with my clients because it's the truth.
I love it.
Awesome.
All right,
look
I'm
at
gonna
that
do.
grin on your face, John. Look at that big old grin.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna do Elizabeth since she decided to go boldly first. Okay. So I think the first time that I met Elizabeth,
Ooh.
the best way to describe it was if somebody took an entire room of a bunch of random toys of a toddler and stuffed it all into a single jar, and you're like, what is going on here? It's absolute chaos. But it's very colorful, very lively, very passionate, very fun. Lots of amazing things, but you still can't make do and understand what's going on. And I used to tell her all the time, hey, your continuity's killing you. Your continuity's the thing that you're struggling with. It's pretty much been the whole thing. That was her. When she's getting comfortable, goes to continuity. When she's deciding that she wants to run, it's going to continuity almost every single time, and it was brought into every aspect of her life. And now, what's actually really cool is I don't feel like I'm looking at a big gigantic jar anymore of a bunch of different colors. I'm like, oh, this is a bunch of colorful Skittles. It's finally like in a nice single vein. I understand what's going on. It still is colorful, still bright, still cool, still amazing, still fun. But at least we're talking about Skittles.
Well put.
So I that's what FQ3C has done. I don't know if you guys can imagine in your head taking that whole room and having to filter everything out and get it nice and clean. And oh my goodness, that's what's done for Elizabeth. It's been wonderful. And she's also talked about her clients too all the time because she does it with her clients. And I get to also see some of those results too. And it's incredible. Her ability to adapt and also present and apply it to even other people's lives. So been
Real
really
quick,
fun.
though, I want to go ahead and tell on myself, but we're on air and I want to give credit to my family for having to watch me crash and burn to get like that through some health experiences and menopause. And so I'm speaking to you ladies. you know, and I lost so much of my soul and my spirit in that. It's not that I didn't have them, it's that my cognition through head traumas also and near-death experiences, I was like mush. A year ago, I was able to coach people. I was able to help them. I was making great strides and saving other people's life, but I had lost the ability to do that for myself, which was very much a struggle for my family to have to see. And, you know, so shout out to my sons, their wives, my grandkids, and everybody else for still loving me.
I love it.
But
Hey, on the eve of
I now
Thanksgiving,
am that new person, and I am even better.
Love it. All right, Amy. Throw me
All
to the
right.
wolves.
Okay. Well, first I want to acknowledge Elizabeth. What a beautiful thing. Because remember, we're on the eve of Thanksgiving, folks, and what a beautiful way to get grounded in gratitude, which is another cool aspect of what FQ3C gets you. It's like, wow, I get to see myself. I get to meet myself. Ain't I an amazing piece? Okay. So Shane, I love being able to do this with you. We've had these conversations privately. And what I've seen from you, which is why I said I'd care and I said I'd help you build this company, is because I knew you before and I've seen you from the onset, that where you started to shine, what I saw as your potential really lit up in your sense of absolute clarity of purpose. And this is what you really, really, really wanted to do. And when that happens, it creates the space for you to be supported in so many different ways. But it is the clarity and the continuity in your purpose that I have seen since you were able to tap into this and receive it and let it work through you. And the light that shines is so, even through, you're sitting here and folks, this man is, really should be in bed asleep. But his purpose, his level of conviction, his heart is so purely here with what he received and discovered and is bringing into the world. This is his mark. This is his legacy. And that's what I see in you, Shane. And that was the shift, is when you got to tap into this is your everything. This is your everything. And everything that you went through with your other businesses before got you here. And I hope to high heaven they were worth it. But they got you here, man. And there's no better place for you to be. No better place for you to be. So
I appreciate it.
Love you.
And if you see, everyone, that just having this type of ability, and it brings unity, it brings family, it brings people together.
Yeah, because you can call everybody's BS and they're not offended by it.
And
There you
do
go.
it with love. Because then you go, FQ3C, how do I get Shane back for what he said? No, I'm just joking.
Hey, I would applaud you, be like, hey, you accomplished your goal. You got me back. That helped me out. I'm in.
and that is cool. And it's like, it takes the shame, blame out of taking a look at yourself. It just removes it. And all those other psych things. Okay, so I'm going to tell myself real quick for clarity. I grew up in a very traumatic family setting. And so through the years, I ended up in front of psychologists and all of the psych world. And that's why this is my wheelhouse probably, but and I took all those psych eval tests and everything, and I didn't want to use those with my clients because every time I got them, it just left me still going, and And so I prayed for this tool 4 days before I got introduced to Shane. And I knew this was my prayer answered from the minute I heard the first 3 sentences out of Shane's mouth.
I have no idea what those 3 sentences were.
I'll take you to
It's
him.
on an email basis.
You got to remember,
Yes.
we were working on the workbook, though.
Well, I thought the first 3 sentences would have been about my L&D platform.
Actually, it was about why you were willing to let me be a part of you in that moment. Because you were FQ3C, why you allowed somebody to bring somebody in to what you were doing while you were so focused.
Oh,
Remember.
okay. Yeah. Okay. I know what you're talking about. I remember. Yeah. That's
I
right.
literally watched you FQ3C, which I didn't know exactly what you were doing. I was just being patient to see why you were talking and speaking that language-ish. And I was just, humbled that I got to hear you process, think. But because of the person who brought me also, and the shift that you had seen in him, and you knew I was their coach, I think, it became evident that's one of the only reasons you allowed me to be there in that intimate moment with you, because it was your baby you were working with.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, very interesting, the introductions. Okay, we got to do Amy next. Okay,
Yes.
Elizabeth, you or me?
Oh, you.
Me?
I
Okay.
want to watch. I want to be able to be the fly on the wall right now.
You and Amy were kind of similar, but Amy was, man, she was the actual bull in the china shop, I'd say.
Yes.
Very
true. Very true.
But you were not mad at the bull, because
no, I'm not.
Bull, yeah.
So let me help you just a moment with that. So you're right on that, because when we started talking about this, bull. So it's a perfect analogy, because my astrology sign is a Taurus sun, and bulls in that sense, in that what Tauruses are looking for freedom. So bull in the china shop is a very good analogy, because what we're actually looking for is to bust out of the china shop. So you caught me. I was in huge amount of chaos, trying to find freedom, trying to find a sense of freedom from the situation I was in. So go.
Yeah, yes, agreed. And it wasn't just like one situation. You had placed yourself in multiple china shops that were all connected together, and you just go from one china shop and mess it up to the next china shop, mess it up to the next china shop. But nobody was pissed off or mad at you. Everyone was like, "We love Amy. Let's keep her around still." Because there still was that, like, when she showed up, she was happy. It's more like the happy bull just kicking around and making a mess, but it's excited to see you. Like, that's why you don't get that type of feeling from too many people, where when you see them, you're like, man, I'm excited because they're excited to see me, So Amy has always brought that to the table, which has been phenomenal. What's interesting is now she, man, not even close to a bull in a china shop. She's oh my goodness, I don't even know the right animal. Probably more like a lion, I'd say. Identifies the prey and then goes, all right, I'm gonna do what the heck I need to do to get my prey taken care of. And always constantly in the zone, figuring out what it is, assessing themselves, assessing the surroundings, assessing whatever's going on. And now the same exact power that the bull is having with destroying a china shop is now able to actually go and take down its prey. And so I would say that her transformation is she went from unleashed, untethered power, which became destructive, to now it's harnessed power, which I think has been just wonderful to watch that transformation. But what's interesting is continuity was also her main problem. Continuity and clarity. Once she
Oh, yeah.
understood clarity, and then once she got continuity in, golden. And the ability to just like zone in now and see, okay, this is my path. Nothing else is getting in my way. This is all I'm doing. I'm willing to accept all the conditions, complete and total abandonment for what you want. That's a lion, taking on its prey. That's I think the best analogy, transition. So been wonderful to watch. And I actually now very much enjoy working with you, whereas before is very much I had to be guarded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Had to be
absolutely.
guarded.
Oh, yeah. You were, and rightly so. And rightly so. No question.
Yeah.
There was a
So
lot of things. So yeah, you were absolutely right to be guarded.
yeah. So
Yep.
I want to say I'm happy for all of you guys. I'm happy for all of your developments and transitions. And I will just take a moment and talk about John. When we first met, it was really hard for me to understand what John was trying to do and where he wanted to go. And it's just hard to understand. But post FQ3C, I've noticed that when he talks, it's way more powerful, way more direct, way more comprehensive, and even some of the other communications behind the scenes, it's almost like he had the lanes on the side of the bowling lanes, the what do you call those, bumpers?
Mhm.
He
The
had
guardrails.
bumpers,
Yeah.
the guardrails, but he still was kind of like bouncing back and forth in the guardrails, and sometimes it hit a gutter, sometimes it might get a strike. It's kind of difficult. Now he doesn't need the guardrails anymore. He's hardcore precision, and when he takes that approach to go and let that bowling ball loose, you know that it was done. I'd say masterfully. It's wonderful because even his exploration has become more succinct. It's no longer just random questions. It's now questions that are very specifically tied towards my singular objective I'm trying to obtain and achieve here. So, but I don't think I don't think it's like Amy's lioness hunting type of thing. You're a lot more controlled than she is still. Much more methodical. And so if I were to give an animal, I'd say you're much more like a hawk.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now it's very nice, and you can see the whole landscape. You can see exactly everything. Before it's just kind of like wandering, but now it's like, okay, this is very intentional, every single movement that you're doing. And so that's been the increase I've seen and witnessed. And then it's made you much more efficient of a hunter, if you will. So phenomenal.
It's fun to hear from the outside that I can't see the other point
Right?
of view. It is.
Yeah, it's always good, I think, to see other people's perspectives and perceptions because unfortunately our external FQ3C is what we project out into the world. That is essentially our brand. Whether we like it or not, it's the culmination of the external base 5. And sometimes it's hard to know what you're actually telling the rest of the world because you still have to manage the other remaining 7 variables. And it's fully your responsibility. Nobody else is going to do it for you. And most people have no access to that information either.
Mhm.
Yeah, Shane, that brings up a quote that I heard, that I read a while back in a different book. And I thought, and it just strikes me as relevant right now, what you're talking about with when your internals are not reflected in your external behavior, which is what you saw in me massively. And excuse me, frog and throat. And there was, and Elizabeth, tell me if you've ever heard this. You might have in your service, which is who you're being is so loud, I can't hear you talking.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's a
Yes.
great quote. I love that quote.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
great
it was
quote.
it's a really good one. Yeah. Who you're being is so loud I can't hear you talking. You know. And another way I'd heard that saying was, who you're being is so loud I can't see you in front of me. Was another way I
Exactly.
heard it. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
that's another great one, because I can't see who you truly are, because you're not letting that out. You're not letting that out.
And
And
what you're saying you want to be isn't, yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So again, we're going back to practical demonstration of this is what continuity is. Who you say you want to be and who you are. And this is, again, why this model works. And this is why when I first read the book, when Shane said, I've got this draft, I've got this idea, read it and tell me what you think. And I was just like, created a mathematical formula for measuring what had never been able to be quantified, which is the inner human experience. And this is an incredibly powerful tool. And we're demonstrating it over and over again consistently in this conversation, how all these pieces work together. Now I want to throw something at people. I want to give you all, people, viewers, whatnot, and we're live, I know, because I saw us on YouTube. There's something really important. We talk about this as FQ3C. We say frequency, quality, consistency, continuity, clarity, and then the various nuances, the various aspects of it all. Just because we say it like that doesn't mean you always go that way. It means you always have those pieces in place. You always touch on all of those to get the whole clean wrapped picture of what you're doing. You can start any one of them. You can start anywhere. You start somewhere, and if that's the one that shows up for you, if clarity shows up for you, start from there and you work from clarity. If you're noticing a frequency, if you're noticing a habit of way, I am constantly banging my head against the wall, and yet I can like step my head back. I'm constantly obsessed with this habit. Okay, start with frequency. Start with something. But you will, and the truth is, no matter what you do, you will always start with one of those five. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what other coaching program you're working with. You're going to always go back to one of those five. So intrinsic and so fundamental to our human experience that we are like wired for. But you know, this stuff is like, this is the truth that's with us all the time. This system works anywhere with everything. And I have done my own level of experimentation, and no matter what, I was like, I am clear on this system, this formula supports everything else and gives it the missing, it's a missing link. It's you know, it's I don't know, it's like JavaScript. It's the middleware. It's the middleware, man. It's the middleware. It's inclusion. Whatever you want to say, you know. It anyway. So you know, hey, I'm
Or the
excited.
the binary coding, maybe.
There you go. Oh, please don't get me started on binary.
We just went way
Yeah,
deep,
way,
didn't
way.
you? Sorry.
Yeah.
So I want
All right,
to.
okay,
I
again,
want-
okay, me
go
being
ahead.
happy, but okay. So having said all of that, you know, let's bring this to a close here shortly. It's been absolutely
Can I
fabulous.
tap in super quick?
Yes, and I was
Something
going to say, and
super
Elizabeth,
quick.
and Elizabeth, they see your hand six.
Yes. So you saying it works everywhere because of my niche of behavioral, you know, specialist, etc. Wanting and my mission and vision to by the end of 2027, it used to be to help 10,000 people to overcome disease, suicide, you know, which, you know, addiction behaviors, etc. It's now pivoted into 100 million people by the end of 2027, because by wanting to reach more people, I am measuring how FQ3C fits into what frameworks, because I'm also focusing on my capabilities to be able to promote this anywhere and everywhere to reach that 10,000. Well, you know what? One of my favorite books is The Four Agreements. And in the fact that I read that and the Bible and other books that come with the Bible and, things that Gary Vaynerchuk did. And because, being someone who's now a coach and I do everything online, I have to know, what is Tony Robbins doing? What is this person doing? What is that person doing? The frameworks, because I also work, I'm going to wrap this up super quick. So, health and nutrition, Dr. Living Good, his stuff that I use with my clients, and so many others, the institutes, the National Institute for Health, it fits, it helps, it will get everybody to their goal for well-being.
Yep.
Boom. So progressively and instinctively and naturally, intuitively, just moving right into your better best. How are you your better best than you were yesterday? Which is one of the most talking about quotes and things. The only person you can be better than is the person you were yesterday. Well, guess what? When I wake up in the morning and I FQ3C my day based on what I wrote and journaled I wanted to do the next day, because as an entrepreneur, you write down what you did and what you didn't accomplish. You become a better person by 10 o'clock than you were at 8 o'clock when you FQ3C'd it.
You get to see that progress.
And
Yeah.
you get to track it and you get to talk about it with other people, understand it, and your teams and your workforce is going to be able to do that. So it works for every corporation, every organization. And when we get it to the organizations and the corporations that are already looking at it and dying to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the reports, for the human capital measurement, it's just the word of mouth is going to go into your homes, and your children are going to be getting it, and the schools are going to be incorporating it, because it works in a way that removes biases and prejudice and everything else that everyone's talking about. How do we do this? FQ3C it.
Yeah. And this is my mic drop for a second. You're talking about an element that I think is really important to define here. What does it look like to live a life at your best? And what we have discovered is that your best is when you live life with conviction. That's it. Live life in a life of conviction. That means that everything follows that path, and it's easier to say no. It's easier to filter through the people who aren't actually there to benefit you and your path. It's easier to actually see the filth for what the filth is and see the gold for what the gold is. It's easier to work through the crap that's in front of you right now and still see the top of the mountain at the same time. It's just so much easier. It's how we're built. We are actually built to live a life of conviction, but conviction is one of the hardest things to obtain and get to, because we're so distrusting, because we don't have enough information, because we're fed lies, because we're put into conditions that are just not favorable, and sometimes we just are so focused on the next step that we're not able to see the path that we're on is leading towards an undesirable location. And it's when that conviction comes into play that all of a sudden everything else just poof becomes a nice straight line directly to a destination, tethered to that location that you know you're built for, you know you're meant for, and then nothing is going to get in your way. It's just like a lighthouse, and you're in a rowboat, and you got a rope tied to the lighthouse. You know what? Abandon trying to go and fight the waves. Just pull on that rope one time at a time. As long as your eyes are on that, as long as you're convicted that I will be saved by getting to this lighthouse in the midst of this hurricane and the storm, it's that conviction, that action, layered upon layered, it's going to get you there, and nothing else matters. So that's really what we're built for. I believe that anyways. I believe we're meant for a life of conviction.
And you
So-
aren't talking about we, like the four of us.
I'm sorry,
It's-
what?
And it's not we, the four of us.
No, I mean people. Every person is built for conviction.
Yes, all of
It's
you.
just whether you are or not living a life of it.
And you're
that's-
not taught how to.
You
And
know?
so this gives the, the saying, God, if I just knew all this when I was growing up, how come no one ever taught me this?
Mhm.
This is the way to understand that this you want to learn and get to learn and get to design your way of being and living and achieving. And
So we-
conviction is no longer this lofty word. It's just intuitive. It just becomes natural because all that other stuff, you know how they put blinders on horses for a reason. It's so the horse can get from here to there with you safely and comfortably and successfully, and then take the blinders off so the horse can enjoy what it needs to enjoy also. You get to go, okay, everybody, this is where I'm going. I'll get there and I got you. And that's the thing I finally get to do for my family again. And they can trust that I will.
Yeah.
I think a really important thing we need to clarify, haha, there's that word again. We're going back to clarity as we wrap this up. But this is, I feel
But
this is
what
really
about
important.
Bouldercourt? But go on.
We're going to get there, and we're going to do that too. We have let's just say we are doing a
Oh,
slightly
John's gotta
extended.
go. Sorry,
right.
John.
Bye, John.
Sorry. Bye-bye, guys.
Wonderful.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about conviction, let's make sure we make that everybody understands what that means, because we understand what that means. But a conviction of what? For what? I have a strong level of conviction, and for me, I would start with, because I brought it up and it's Clarity Day. The conviction is about about living truthfully, knowing who I am and living truthfully as that, and not letting anything get in the way of that. Making all my choices and decisions are based on that, on the clarity of that truth that I found, and how I truly operate, and how I can make decisions and conduct myself and direct my energy.
That's
So I
the
say-
Apple answer.
Yeah.
The Microsoft answer is when all of your variables are in perfect alignment and maxed out toward the single objective.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. So because I never use Apple. Because it strikes me that sometimes that can be really vague. Sense of conviction about what? But you've answered that. So thank you for bringing it. So that's good. So we've got that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Clarity, guys. We got clarity. We finally figured out what
We
conviction
got, see, once
actually
again,
is.
we just demonstrated how clarity works.
Yeah.
All right.
We measure it. That's literally what we do.
Yep. You measure it, and you measure it, and you check it with, you can check it in your FQ3C scores and your lived behavior. You can just measure it against your own lived experience, which is the real essential truth of that. Like that's your evidence. Did this work for me? Is my life, am I enjoying my quality of life better? Am I more effective in what I'm doing with my relationships and things I intend to do? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Circle, circle, circle. Boulder Corp.
Yes.
Okay. So
Let's get clarity on Bouldercourt real quick.
Yes,
Explain
exactly.
real quick what Bouldercourt
Bouldercorp
is.
clarity. Can Bouldercorp have clarity? Of course they can. A Bouldercorp is we consistently have to tell this little backstory.
Yeah.
Until for a little bit longer, and then everybody's going to be, yeah, we know. Shut up. Bouldercorp came about one of our first group encounters where we were referencing a company that need not be named, and the whole concept was, and then from there it was Bouldercorp, because we were throwing the Voldemort, he who must not be named, around, because as we all know from Harry Potter, if you named Voldemort out loud, then one of the Death Eaters would come around and kill you and get you, because he wasn't supposed to do that. It says the Hugh must not be named, just kept it under wraps and kept the fear going.
And so Voldemort was a wizard that had a lot of power, and he also had a conviction about his life and living it forever.
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
His goal actually affected everybody else around him, because he was okay with you dying if it meant he lived longer.
Yep. That's it. You got it. Beautiful.
And so Voldemort is a corporation that does what it does and doesn't care how it affects other people.
Yeah. And
is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, absolutely. And it can be a corporation. It can we just, because that was just a fun coin of phrase. It can be a corporation. It can be an institution. It can be a system. It can be any number of things, but we just generically are calling it Voldicorp. And what we're doing here is we're looking at how FQ3C, if we apply FQ3C to a Voldicorp and give some clues on it, can we recognize where all of those variables are in play and in fact being maybe used technically correctly, and yet still the outcome does not enrich the landscape, does not help people, does not do good and honorable business. So our invitation to everyone is we play around with this and we leave clues. And then we say, okay, now let's guess. So we've done this before where each of us leaves a clue. And then the next week we guess. So you guys guessed mine last week, and we have some clues on the table for something to guess. And I believe Elizabeth's, yours is the one we need to guess on. You left clues.
Why is that? We still get to pick what Shane's is. And we didn't actually state what yours was.
Yeah, we did.
And unfortunately, y'all, none of you had the audacity or the courage or the clarity or confidence to type your guess as to what Amy's was. And so
we did.
Oh, you did? You typed it into the chat?
Oh, you're right. We did not type it into the chat. We did it live. So fair call. Thank you for that.
I didn't think that we even really said what it was. We just all made hints at it.
Yeah, let's reveal. Let's do the big reveal this week. So Amy's was SMART goals.
Yes, my Voldicorp was SMART goals, and it was. I just thought it was too obvious because we kept talking about the lack of effectiveness of SMART goals when everybody believes it was supposed to be so great. Yeah. So I thought that one was just so easy; it would be like mindless, like an example.
So the question is I don't have beef with SMART goals as much as I have beef with the guy who made SMART goals, and unfortunately, he's already passed on, so he doesn't get to hear us.
And I feel bad about that because I'd love to have brought him in here and used it with him, huh?
It would have been so cool to be like, hey, which one's better, the one that you made or the one that we did?
Or not even that. Just say, hey, come check this out. I bet you'll love it. Because that was his mission and vision.
No, it wasn't.
No?
No. It was a marketing play.
Oh, see, the teacher that taught it to me told me that was the mission and vision. See what not truth can do?
Yeah, he was just out there. It was a sales thing.
So the perception of the person who taught it to me, who got paid by my corporation for all of us to, go in phases to go get trained on it. And we were all like, what? Okay, we got to do this and add it to our workday now.
Yeah, no, it was all it was is was he a coach? No, I think he was a real estate agent or something. It's something, just he was a sales guy, basically. What he did is he was paying for an article in a magazine. I think it was a magazine. And then originally the goal was actually, the model was supposed to be smacked SMAT,
Mm.
but it didn't sound good. So,
Yeah.
So they added an R.
so they threw in the R, which is why the R is so just
It is
terrible.
one of the ones people have the hardest time remembering.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
because it was just
I picked a
it was
good
to
one.
make it sound. It was just a marketing ploy. It's all it was. He just wanted to make it so that it was going to have more hits, more people know about him. That's all. So he's like, so I can't remember the exact title, but it's something along the lines of how to create SMART goals, and then SMART became his acronym.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So
Oh
it was,
wow.
yeah, there was no
Wow.
mission vision involved with I'm going to share SMART goals with the world.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Then he's
Wow.
still
Wow. Wow.
probably up there laughing.
Oh dang. Oh dang. Then I picked a good one. Little did I know.
He didn't have any. He didn't have anything sinister behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also in his era, acronyms were becoming a craze.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So
That was what,
he was just,
80s?
yeah, it was like
90s?
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
He like made the publishing, and I think it took like 3 years for it to really hit.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, during that window, acronyms were like the huge thing going on everywhere
Yes.
for everything. And
Yes.
so it wasn't nefarious. It was just he was
Right.
trying to think about what's the common best marketing tactic trick today. That was it. And he just implemented it. And just so happened that nobody else had ever created a goal model that was, call it decent, or
Yeah.
maybe not even decent, marketable, up to that point, I guess. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, George P. Duran, who introduced the SMART Goals acronym, worked as a consultant and was formerly the director of corporate planning for the Washington Water Power Company.
Yeah. So sales.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So that brings up a question. That's a great one, Shane. And that is the idea of our bold court, fun acronym, fun little coin of phrase that it is. The are the entities and the businesses that we dropping hints at and looking at and calling them out on this, are they truly sinister?
That's
Like, are they truly sinister? Did things just end up that way because of various constraints? Was there an intention on was there an intention to actually like do harm and truly believe that the ends just and be very Machiavellian about the end justifies the means, that they were so pure in their belief, that they're so pure in being driven on what what it is they want to achieve, their profit line, their bottom line, whatever, that the ends justify the means. And they're not
so
trying to be bad guys. It's just the ends justify the means, and that's the prime directive.
I actually have a gentleman who's 18 that I am tutoring right now. He asked me
Yeah.
a very similar question, but he knew in his mind like what his answer was, but he didn't have a way to help somebody else see it. And the best way to, in my opinion, come to a logical conclusion, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
is you got to ask yourself this.
Yeah.
Really, what we're asking is, what's the definition of good?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you pose this to somebody, hey, was uh, um was you waking up at 5 a.m. this morning to go in line and wait 4 hours for your cup of coffee, your favorite cup of coffee from Starbucks? Was it good? Like it's a quality, right? A quality question. But here's where it gets interesting, right? Okay, so really then there is no solid definition of good, because good is actually quality, which is what is good is by the perceiver. But we
And
do
the beliefs and values of the perceiver measure.
Correct. But the interesting thing is that most people would come to the conclusion that Hitler, we don't want him around again. It was not good,
Right.
right? So a lot of people will try and make the definition of good of, well, it's what I believe is good. Hold the phone. There is a what you believe is good, but there's also an actual underlying truth. And this is a weird grappling piece that everybody's dealing with. So the question is, can it be good for you to say that Hitler should die when the good for Hitler was that he should not die? Can you
Right.
have both happen at the same time? What is actually good in that scenario? Okay. So the only then piece that you have to pivot to logically is, well, either he and I can both have our perception of good, whereby there's actually no definition of good. It's all just canceled out. And it's just the people doing whatever the hell they want, which could be your conclusion. Not going to lie. Absolutely can. But then there's no, why even use the word good other than to describe what you think? And then there's no objectivity of any kind. Or you can go to the other side of this equation, which is intent. Intent of originator. So if I have a pool triangle, or I'm supposed to put all of my pool balls in this triangle, I, as the creator and the designer, had intent to build this for the sake of those balls going in here so it could be placed on a pool table. It's a tool. My intention as a creator is for this to have a purpose. If somebody else comes along, picks up my triangle, smacks somebody else over the head with it, I, as the creator, can actually determine the minimum qualifier for good because I created it and I had intent with my creation. So I can actually say, I created this for pool. When it's used for pool, good. When it's not used for pool, not good. I don't care what the person does. I don't care if another person used this thing to somehow get laid. I don't care if this person used it to go and hit somebody else over the head. I don't care if this person decided to use it for acrobatics and some sort of tricks or magicianry. I don't care because I made it. I define what's good. And I think that that's something that people need to understand, is that origination is actually the best form of determining what's good. It's origination. So in terms of creation, then for me, I would say that God created everything. Then that means that he's actually the one who determines what's good or not, period. End of story. If he created me and I am just like that triangle and I'm intended to go and create FQ3C, but I decide to go over there and be a male stripper. I mean, for me, I might say being a male stripper was good, but God's like, no, I created you. And I created you to go do FQ3C. You need to do that. That's what's actually good. Now I'm just deciding to accept what is good or is not. That's all there is anymore. So I do want to say there is a bare minimum line. And when you use the minimum line of creator intent, that helps to clarify a lot of scenarios where also you can say that Hitler did not create those people, whereby when he took the life of those people, it was not good. Because he was not the creator, he was not the originator of them. Which is now why people can agree upon it. They're like, no, that was not good.
Okay.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah. And I love this. I love this because talking about that is like, so if we follow that, right? And if God is the original creator, and then I will add to that, and has instilled in you the purpose for which you are created.
Yeah.
You've already got that. All right. Okay. God created you. And I'm going to use your example, Shane, of FQ3C, because, we know this is your purpose because of how you showed up, because of exactly everything that we've talked about And everything you've done has been so consistently in alignment with the FQ3C. It's like, there's no question. There's no question. It's like, no, you should not be a male stripper.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have some external constraints on a very beautiful wife and a daughter and a faith that would like, yeah, and anyway, we don't need to get silly on that. But the point is that you got that. And that example is that. And what I'm going back to is we all have that specific purpose wired in us, which is that essential truth. And the constraints, conditioning, trump, all the various things that keep us from seeing it.
Yeah.
We get to peel that back. We get to peel those layers back. Elizabeth, when she works with people, it's about, let's peel those layers back and go meet who you really are. We do that over and over again. It's all about that. Let's see what's really going on. Let's get to that truth, whatever. And the scriptural phrase, and when you know the truth shall set you free. Thank you very much from all the Tauruses and the China shops here. But when we're doing that, and we are doing that which we are on purpose for, that is where we find that good, that baseline from which, when you know it, you can't look away.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know I can't look away. I can't deviate. Everything in my daily and hourly observance about my thoughts, my feelings, my behaviors, my timing, my everything is proving to me over and over again that by getting on that purpose and that trajectory, is constant, and I can't look away from it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm almost like to the point where I know when I'm about to deviate before I get there, and I can course correct before I even create problems for myself.
Which creates the confidence that I was talking about in your days, in your moments, and it removes. God, I just so wish, like at where I live, one of my neighbors she deviated from where she was at in her mission vision. We had talked, and she was going to be using this tool and get into recovery with me and everything. And she missed that mark because she hadn't gotten the tool for the conviction that she so wanted. And now she has 2 sons who don't have a mom. And just in a matter of from October 11th to November 20th.
Yeah. And that is so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From October 11th to October almost 20th, she was finally, for the first time in her life, clean and sober, because she was raised to be an addict to help her mom be able to maintain being in her disease.
Yeah.
And that was a lifestyle she had been raised in. And she was just so excited to tell me, I've been clean for a week, and now I get to be the mom I've always wanted to be for my kids, and rewrite my story. And she came to me because she knew that that's what I do. But that one element that, showed up and interjected itself and made that path foggy. And she kept texting and seeing me and going, okay, yeah. And then that person would show up, and that's took away her ability to, like you were saying earlier in your discussion, John and his, to say no, to be able to say no, Amy, to be able to say no. That is not going to happen today. Yeah, being able, for people who have codependency, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You keep it. For those of you who are constantly saying, why do I keep doing what I don't want to do? You get to clearly define, as the creator of your day, what is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll set with you, and it'll draw you to come back in FQ3C again when it doesn't feel like it's good. And that's the intuitive I talk about. But So Shane, can we go to your boulder court?
Sure. And I was going to say one thing to answer Amy's original question though about Voldemort.
Mhm.
I would say actually Voldemort was good. Here's why. Because his creator intended for him to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He served his purpose. Yeah.
He was perfectly made by his creator and J.K. Rowling. And so
Yes.
actually Voldemort was actually good.
Okay, so then
Oh,
when
yeah.
we go, so
Oh,
if
I
we were
freaking
to
love
go
that.
to
I
that
love it.
though, if we were to go to that then, this young lady was created by birth by her mother, who designed her to help her continue to get high.
No,
And
she was
so,
not created by her mother.
well, in essence, there would be that discussion
No,
for some people. But yes,
that's impossible to actually have happened. Because to create something means that you have deliberate agency and dominion, and a mother does not have agency or dominion over their child at all during the whole entire birth. They have influence, they have impact, but they do not have agency and dominion.
not only that, it's a gift.
Yeah, it really is a gift. It like you are actually gifted with a child. You
You're
are not
gifted with stewardship.
stewardship. There, and that's very different. Stewardship is not creator.
And that's why each one of us has our own agency over our days.
Yeah, and so that is the interesting thing is you by your creator have been given agency over your own self. So
Mhm.
effectively, what's interesting is we actually do and have been given dominion over us.
Yes.
Um,
That's
but
free will.
what you are created to do is actually not to do that, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. You've been given agency to choose whether you will or will not, but you're not
Mhm.
built for it. You're built for conviction. And what's interesting with conviction is that in order for somebody to be truly convicted in something, it has to actually be completely true.
Mhm.
And they're at least true within their how they view things. But if we take into account constraint as a variable, it actually shifts the weight, if you will, so that objectivity actually trumps subjectivity.
And we're
Mhm.
not talking about the president named Trump.
Yeah,
No.
not. So objectivity actually
Override.
trumps subjectivity, and that's
Yeah.
why we have an OSS score. So
Which stands for,
um, odds of success score.
yes.
Mhm.
So what's interesting is although you have agency and you can choose to quote unquote be your own God, unfortunately, due to the nature of how you were built by external forces, you cannot help but choose conviction of something that is quote unquote bigger than yourself,
Mhm.
or you end up grappling with constraint whereby it prevents you from being fully convicted. Because you have to have all 12 at max for conviction to truly actually take place. So if you believe yourself as God, constraint tells us you're not God. So you can have 11 of your variables fully dedicated towards, oh, I am God, I'm God of my own life or whatever it is. But constraint tells us you're not. It's just not possible. It is literally materially impossible for that to actually happen and take place. So by default, that means that you were actually created. And if you choose to actually take agency in the appropriate way, you will actually have conviction for the truth of what your actual purpose is, which is provided to you from a creator. There's no way around it. And and when you use FQ3C, just like we did with the 12 variables, I'm just FQ3Cing everything. And here's the interesting part that Elizabeth said. FQ3C works. Oh, no, Amy said this. FQ3C works with everything. Period. As long as there is a behavior, FQ3C exists.
Actually, we both said that.
Yeah, as long as there's a behavior, FQ3
So
exists.
that's who it is.
Which means
Yeah.
then, for that to happen, creator has to exist. If creator exists in purpose intent to have conviction, you have to be either doing or not doing what you were built for. It's this circular thing that will never end.
It is. Exactly. Exactly.
What I can
Exactly.
say is, while you're achieving that, you can, in your daily goals, and you and I were talking about this before, Shane,
Mhm.
in your daily goals, you can live better than you would without FQ3C.
Yeah.
So, your Voldemort.
My Voldemort is
Hold the court.
Voldemort.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, my
Voldemort.
Voldemort. My Voldemort is BMI.
Aha.
BMI.
Hi.
Ah.
Those rascals.
Green. Yeah. Okay.
Those rascals.
Ah.
They were hired and petitioned by the German army, or government, whatever you want to say, whatever, to go and create the tracking mechanism whereby it was very clearly they understood go to track the Jews and provide the branding and everything else. Yep.
Oh boy. Okay.
BMI. And they are still around today.
Yeah. Under the same name, or is their name changed over the
No, they're still BMI.
Okay. That
The one with
is,
the stripes, BMI, and the blue line stripes.
oh yeah.
Okay,
don't
so
think
are you talking about Broadcast Music Inc.?
No,
No, this is a German company. Yeah.
they're a technology company, or banking. I think they're technology. I need to double check.
Yeah.
They've mainly technology, and I think they've dabbled in banking or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
well, the homework now. Let's all go learn about BMI and their volticorpiness. I dare
Who
you to
knows?
say that 10 times.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they became convicted about their past
Yes.
decisions.
All right. Okay. Do we have clues? Do we have any breadcrumbs to drop for next time? And then let's wrap it up and go do our things. You guys need to go do your nights, and I got to do my day.
Well, and actually, what about mine?
Yeah. Oh yes. What about yours? Let's talk
Yeah,
about yours.
let's.
Yes.
Next week we'll come with some more Voldicorps. Actually,
Did you guys guess at mine?
I
I
did.
thought you were talking about ThyssenKrupp, but
No, I said I think I said DuPont for yours.
You said DuPont. Yeah. You said DuPont.
oh, so
And
you
I
were stuck
didn't.
on that. That means you didn't go look it up.
No, of course
Well,
I
you
did
said
look
that-
it up.
Oh,
you said
well,
you-
you could
you said you
research
can't.
it.
You said we couldn't like use AI or anything to search it.
Yeah,
It's like,
we have to
But
go.
you could go search. You could go look things up.
Yeah, but that's not
Well,
fun.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
So-
I can't go to a library and look it up.
Actually, you
I have a
could.
constraint.
Oh, you couldn't. Yes.
No.
All right.
Right.
So it's all the companies within the Corn Refiners Association, but mostly Archer Daniels Midland for
Oh.
producing high fructose corn syrup
Oh.
that is highly unhealthy for humans. A lot because well, I'm going to read it so y'all know I'm telling the truth. In
Okay.
summary, excess dietary fructose inhibits intestinal calcium absorption, induces marked vitamin D insufficiency, and exacerbates other classical symptoms of the disease. Plus, it makes sugar trigger your inability to not want more. And
Mhm.
it's one of the and of course they try to make sure that you can't get a hold of the research and everything that shows how it's in correlation to the rise in diabetes, cancer, and other such diseases.
It's basically the nicotine of the food market.
And there, you can't find it anymore, but I have it in places where there was research during COVID that showed that because it blocks vitamin D absorption, and if you haven't learned this yet, 5,000 milligrams of vitamin D is the recommended dose as an adult if you are suspecting you could be getting or subjected to or have COVID, because
Mhm.
that is, and if your body can't absorb it because you're drinking sodas and eating gummy bears, and you're just blocking what the vitamin D is going to do for you. So it's one of the reasons why America had the higher incidence, plus the stress to their systems, which caused our hair to fall out.
Oh, see, that was the thing that threw me, because like I could have probably figured out the rest of it, but it was the hair loss. That's what I did not. That was the part that was like, huh?
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Oh.
Once you mentioned that, same for me. I was like, all right, it could be toothpaste for all I know. I have no idea.
Well, and actually, people don't know it.
Who said
But
fluoride?
the corn products that they're making and the guar gums and stuff are in your toothpaste.
Yeah, it's thickener. Yeah.
Especially the guar gum is solid. Yeah, it's supposed to stabilize it. Well, excuse me, but I'm brushing my baby's teeth with this stuff. Thank you very much. So be mindful. Use doTERRA toothpaste. It's amazing.
product. Yeah, you got a little product plug in there.
Which I am a distributor and a wellness advocate of. Their products actually saved my life. When I had COVID, I hadn't been taking the On Guard for a long time, for 2.5 months. If I go 2.5 months without taking it, I start picking up people's colds, people's flu.
Yeah.
When I'm on it, I can go do concerts and any social gathering, my meetings, and everybody else gets sick and I don't.
Well, looks like we need to get a sponsorship.
There you go.
That's it. Yep. Product
One of the many.
Shameless. That's okay. That's great. That's great. We all know.
I'm about that's good. It's a part of people's well-being.
You got your tools. You got your tools. So that's beautiful. All right. We have been here a lot longer than we normally are, but what a wonderful, it was too good to not. It was too good to not be here. And Shane, we're so glad that you were able to show up, and thank you so much for that. And bringing your awesome to the table, so to speak. And John, while he was here, thank you for bringing his awesome to the table. And Elizabeth, thank you for bringing your awesome to the table, for which I am very thankful for here in our this Thanksgiving week. And so with that, we'll say thank you, everybody.
We want to thank you, Amy, for being so consistent and reliable and removing your continuities, so that we can rely.
Wait a minute.
So that we can rely on your
addressing her continuity.
Thank you.
Oh, you're addressing my
well, or undressing, But what I do want to say is you have already outlined what we're going to be talking about next week. So be really prepared, because we having a really amazing discussion, and we are getting more and more views, and people are getting more and more curious. And as we get to do demos with people and they're signing on and suiting up and showing up, The word of mouth is starting to grow. So if you want to be a
Yep.
part of this, don't get left behind. Be at the front of the line.
Yeah.
Oh, you can book with me, Shane, John, or well, John is John still wanting them, or Maurice.
John.
And that's easy. You
Yeah, I
can
think John does. I don't see
Yeah.
why John wouldn't.
Okay, FQ3C.com/Shane or /Maurice or /John M or /Elizabeth V. Peace.
Yes.
Please.
It's
All
a
right.
picture, fluffy like that. Yeah, and we'll put these links in the show notes. And we also want to invite you to join us for our Fundamental Fridays, which I'm going to ask, is there going to be a Fundamental Friday because it is Thanksgiving weekend? Is that still happening or not?
Yeah, it's still
Yep.
happening.
Okay, very good.
Shane and I
So-
will be presenting together.
Woo!
Who will?
So fundamental.
Who will?
Shane and I.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought I
Yes.
heard TJ. I was like, oh, he's not ready.
Not ready. Raise
No,
close.
he's you.
Not
I
yet.
was talking.
Our NBA player. Woo, woo.
Yeah. Yeah. So Fundamental Fridays is the opportunity you have to do a steady introduction to FQ3C. A lot of the things we've talked about, going over the basics, participating, asking questions, learning more. It's always free, and come back as many times as you want. And we'll put a link in our show notes to that. And we thank everybody for coming and hope to see you again soon. So for myself, Amy Falcon, is Special Projects Director at FQ3C, going through life in Southeast Asia, I would say kudos. See you on the other side. And
Kudos.
Shane.
Yeah, kudos. See you guys on the other side.
Not Amy's doppelganger. Kudos. See you on the
Yes.
other side.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye for
Thank
now.
you.
And see you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.